Hi, I'm Ken Howard and welcome to the Gay Therapy LA podcast. Today I would like to talk to you about gay men and reaching goals. Are you stymied by approach avoidance? And what I mean by that is that when I work with guys in therapy or coaching, I'm usually really helping them work toward a goal. It's usually either a professional goal, something having to do with their work or their career, or it's a personal goal about, dating skills or finding a partner or working through relationship conflict. There's a lot of different topics that the guys I see all week long are going through, but they do tend to fall into that professional versus personal, or some combination thereof, categories. So what does this mean about reaching goals? I think it's about the idea that to live our best life, we identify the unique things that bring us subjective quality of life and joy, and we aim to maximize those joys while at the same time mitigating life's challenges that get in the way of the pursuit of that, such as having a loss, some kind of setback, an obstacle, or a frustration. We hear a lot of frustrations from guys, and together we work to say, how can we overcome this frustration? How can we get to a better subjective quality of life? And if you talk to most guys, they tell you that their goals come down to wanting more of something or less of something in their life. They'd like to learn how to do a new skill, achievement, or state of being, or learn how not to do something, such as a bad habit or a burden or a conflict. The straightforward pursuit of those goals should be easy, right? You just work toward it until you've achieved it. Okay, so it's not so easy as that. What I've found over literally decades of formal and informal observational research is that guys actually have a lot of ambivalence about reaching their goal. Comme ci, comme ça. They want to, but they really don't. I and others call this the approach/avoidance technique or approach. It's the daily push and pull and the inner conflict that even unconsciously controls or at least influences our behavior. A guy might call and ask me if I'm seeing new clients, and if I'm not full at the moment, I'll say sure and ask what he wants some help with. Often it's something like, I want to change my career, I've been a waiter for 5 years since I moved to LA from bumfuck, and I really want to be an interior designer. So we start work. I take a full history of what social workers like me like to call a biopsychosocial assessment. We lay out some goals, we discuss any family of origin, cultural, or physical or mental challenges that paint the picture, and maybe we discuss what he likes and dislikes about being a server in a restaurant, and why he thinks becoming an interior designer might be a fun change for more creative or more lucrative, more fulfilling, or more enduring work over the lifespan. Then I get a text after a session saying he can't make next week's session because of some excuse that shows that his therapy is just not a high priority. Whatever happened to being the interior designer? Whatever happened to that passion and that commitment? Or a guy might come to me because he's 70 pounds overweight and he just had a physical where a doctor told him to lose some weight to reduce his heart disease risk. So he also wants a gay therapist to help him cope with the gay community pressures about body image. We all know about those, and how to improve self-esteem and work on himself in a healthy way. He wants support for the kind of cognitive, thinking, and behavioral changes it would take to lose 70 pounds within a year. Then, a few weeks into his 3 times a week gym schedule, he reports he only went to the gym once in 11 days because he was busy. Okay, that's not going to get him to lose 70 pounds anytime soon. So we say, what is going on here? In addition to setting measurable, observable, objective goals to change your life for the better, you also have to really work through approach avoidance. The approach part is easily Googling gay therapist and probably finding my gaytherapyla.com website. Then calling or texting or emailing, all three will work, for an appointment inquiry. completing an online intake, which is easy, finding my office, which is not that hard on a map, navigating LA's notorious traffic, finding a parking space, showing up, and getting down to business, or doing it all through the phone or webcam for guys outside the LA area. Talking about the goals, describing what would feel really good to accomplish. That's the approach, like an airplane lining up to land on a runway, focused and precise and smoothly landing on the goal. But the harder part of all this is the avoidance. What are some of the factors that contribute to avoidance? What types of conscious or even unconscious fear are at work sabotaging the progress towards your goals? A lot of guys work with this problem of self-sabotage. They want something, but then they find some way to screw it up. And we have to say, what is going on when you want something, but you get in your own way? How do you get out of your own way? I think in the first case, with our interior designer example, he's not understanding that attending therapy or coaching sessions consistently has been found in research to be correlated with positive outcomes of treatment. I realize that consistent services can sound self-serving when you're a therapist and coach like me who makes his living by clients attending sessions. But, aside from how that can sound, it's also true. The consistent investment in just about any goal-directed effort tends to correlate with that goal being achieved. It's that consistent investment and consistent effort over time that tends to move the needle toward reaching the goal with just about anything. Something physical, something financial, something social, something emotional, something professional like education or building a business. It's that consistent investment. It's also true in taking care of your health. It's true in an artistic endeavor, such as painting a painting or a sculpture or writing a novel or a play or a screenplay. So maybe our interior designer guy has fears about leaving a safe and consistent job as a server and what going back to school for interior design might mean. Or maybe anti-gay sentiments he's grown up with from critical parents, bad teachers, bad coaches, bullying peers, or anti-gay politicians and constant anti-gay rhetoric in the news and in the media have had the effect of diminishing his self-esteem, lowering his self-confidence, and that sense of agency to do just about anything, big or meaningful. Maybe he doubts his own aptitude or talent for design despite having an interest in it. Maybe he's somehow been sheltered and just doesn't know enough about the interior design business to make a decision to join it. These kinds of avoidance thoughts are the things that need to be identified and rooted out and processed and resolved in the course of someone's therapy or coaching and replaced with positive cognitions and consistent productive behaviors with new goals. And slow and steady efforts win the race. With the other guy, issues of body image and changing behaviors in service to health are classic situations where all people, not just gay men, can feel conflicted. Everyone wants to be healthier overall and usually to follow doctor's orders, but this can be undermined when we might have been the victim of abuse of parental authority, so we resist anything that someone in power tells us to do. We've just developed that reflex to challenge authority if we've been abused by it. We might doubt whether losing 70 pounds is even reasonable, even in a medically supervised plan. Is that even possible? That might feel like it's an insurmountable goal, even though we know, from studying people and weight loss and health, that is possible. And it does reduce the number of health risks. It's not about gay men and body fascism, like you're not any good unless you're, some kind of a fitness model. But it is also true that a healthy self-care means taking care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially, and financially. I work with guys in all of those categories. Maybe for someone who has a big weight loss goal, They might fear the types of sacrifice it would require, giving up the joy of having our favorite foods, or feeling burdened by the time and effort that it takes to exercise enough to shed excess weight. So what does avoidance look like? Sometimes our avoidance can seem awfully compelling. Oh, we're busy. Oh, we're watching our budget. Oh, maybe it can all wait just this once. There's that saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Unfortunately, if you look at people who tend to reach their goals, people we see in life where they seem to do everything they put their mind to, get a great job, achieve special projects, have a great body, earn good money, make a social impact, create artistic work. Think of athletes like Olympians, the gay Gus Kenworthy, or the track star Florence Joyner, or politicians who come from modest backgrounds. Look at Barack Obama or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Pete Buttigieg. These are people who might be known for all kinds of things, but they're also known for meeting their goals. We ask ourselves, how can we be like them? People say that all the time about, kind of our cultural heroes like Oprah, or, anyone who's become a prominent politician, anyone who's become a prominent singer or actor or athlete or business person. We kind of say, wow, what do they have that I don't? How can I be more like them if we have a goal to be successful in a way that's similar to what we see around us? How do they overcome avoidance? Aren't they ever busy or tired or get distracted or watching their budget? What makes them meet their goals when so many others do not? So let's talk for a second about the characteristics of gay men who succeed in their goals. The guys I work with who meet their goals tend to have several characteristics that I've just observed over time. I've been doing this for 27 years. And so a lot of my observations fall into certain very repeated categories. I work sometimes with actors who actually get work, or middle-aged guys who change careers, or men with chaotic finances and debt who actually end up in the black, so to speak, with a surplus. Guys who struggle with substances, getting and staying sober. Guys who build the physique they want from basically nothing. So, not nothing, but you know what I mean. Some guys have a goal that they want to change their physique, and then they do. And it's a really neat process. There's lots of examples where I've worked with guys who, I think maybe because they're getting support and because they're being focused, they do achieve many different kinds of goals that, just make them happy. Men who come to terms with psychological trauma or living with a psychiatric disorder or disability and minimize their symptoms through having lots and lots of help and support. Guys who find the right boyfriend and get and sustain happy relationships. What are they all doing to achieve that? Well, first, they get the help they need. They seek out help not just from me as their therapist or coach, but from professional mentors as well, people who have already achieved what they want, and they try to follow their example. They do research and dig to get the information that they need to guide them. I always say Google is your friend. There's a lot of stuff that people can find out with a Google search, which takes about 5 seconds. They stay at it consistently, even when they don't want to put in the effort that day. I think that's a little bit of a cliche with coaches and motivational speakers, but I think it's pervasive because it's true that people who achieve their goals stay at it consistently, and the key is even when they don't want to put in the effort that day. They know the difference between having patience, that you have to have the patience to reach your goals over time, but they know the difference between having patience versus becoming complacent. They keep a positive mindset that endures even when they face setbacks. And they say, this setback is not going to stop me. I'm going to forge on, even though something has thrown me temporarily off course. They know what making a commitment means, and they keep it. They don't flake out. They make a commitment that's clear and strong, and they hold themselves to it. They're not afraid to ponder their own shortcomings and develop strategies to overcome them. Admitting your shortcomings and doing the insight-oriented work to know what you're just plain not good at, where you're vulnerable to getting distracted or getting lazy or getting complacent. That's not something to feel ashamed about. It's something to feel proud of, because it's part of your self-care and it's part of your self-empowerment to know where your strengths are, which is fair. Everybody has strengths. But also to know where your vulnerabilities are and then be able to answer those. When you strengthen the weakest link in the chain, you get a stronger chain. People who achieve their goals realize that the road to reaching a goal sometimes isn't fun, but it's always rewarding. They recognize that when they're indulging in avoidance, mentally or behaviorally, and then they double down yet again on their approach. They realize that sometimes you can get complacent, you can get lazy, you can get ambivalent, but when that happens, they recognize it, they call themselves out on their own shit, and then they get back focused on their goal, if the goal is important to them. But, I've never seen guys achieve these things without help of all kinds. Maybe with me as a therapist and coach, but also with mentors and friends and family and a whole support system. Many people who know me know that I'm a pretty outspoken LGBT activist and a liberal activist, and that's because I don't believe in this conservative drivel about the self-made man. Sure, hard work is important. I know many guys are ambivalent about doing something and whine, it's too much work, I get it. But, that's also important. Conservatives are correct when they say that hard work is necessary for success. I believe that. However, I also believe in a collective society where no man is an island, and everyone, to tell the truth, got help from others to get where they are today. Everybody. This is why making the approach to not just one or two people, like a therapist, but to many people, such as supportive family or friends or colleagues, and especially mentors, is so important. Seeking out audience with people. One of my favorite books on achieving your goals is by Jack Canfield, C-A-N-F-I-E-L-D, Jack Canfield, called The Success Principles. And the subtitle is that how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And, he talks about people being bold in their ambition. Some guy who works in the mailroom at a company in the basement requests audience with the CEO of the company through all his assistants and gatekeepers and says, I want 15 minutes of your time to interview you about how you got to be CEO of this company and how you think I can move up in it. And most CEOs, if they get a letter or an email from somebody who works in their friggin' mailroom and wants to interview them about how to grow and succeed, they're probably going to give that time. Even though 15 minutes in the life of a CEO is really a valuable resource, they still might do it for somebody that has the chutzpah and the ambition to request audience with their CEO. And you can do this with so many different kinds of people. Identify the people who have achieved the goal that you're trying to achieve and ask them for 15 minutes of their time on the phone or in their office at their convenience, and you go to them and you come in with some good prepared questions, and you're going to leave there knowing something that you didn't know before that's going to help you in your goals. And this is true in any field. So we need the support of the public too. When we're trying to do something, particularly in business, there's no such thing as a self-made man in business, because we need customers or students or employees or clients or patrons to succeed as well. Mr. Wrigley would never have gotten rich and build, Wrigley Field in Chicago if people hadn't bought his gum. Or, to use a contemporary example, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, he might be a clever guy. I don't know him. I don't know what he's like. I haven't even read, the biographies and stuff. But, my guess is that he's probably a pretty clever guy. However, he would be nowhere if it weren't for millions upon millions upon millions of people buying stuff off of Amazon to make him succeed. It's just impossible to succeed without other people patronizing your business or somehow being on board with what you're trying to achieve. And of course, other people support you just as you support other people in their goals or in their businesses, or somebody that's a friend that you emotionally support. But it has to be visible. No one really cares if you can do an Olympics-worthy long jump if no one is there to see it. No one cares if you can sing opera perfectly if it's only in the shower and even the neighbors aren't home. We need others to help us succeed. We have to have the drive ourselves, but we have to enlist and recruit and leverage the help of others. And it's not just for us in some kind of narcissistic way. We also give that. Think of how you can be a mentor to somebody in service to their goals. And isn't it funny how when you do that, you actually get closer to your own goals? It's kind of a social karma that way. And of course you have to want it. Tim McGraw, I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool country music fan. However, there's some songs I really like. One of them is by Tim McGraw that says, How Bad Do You Want It? Look up that song on Amazon Music or iTunes or whatever. Tim McGraw, How Bad Do You Want It? Are you eating, sleeping, breathing with that one thing on your mind? How bad do you want it? Sometimes approach avoidance is another name for just being half interested in a goal. You'd take it if someone gave it to you or if it were easy, but you don't want it enough to work for it. There's the difference. Ask yourself, what do you want badly enough that you would actually do the sometimes very hard work it requires to get it? Then you're really onto something that fulfills your values. You're in the right job or the right sport or the right artistic endeavor if you still like it, even on its worst day, when it really, really feels like work. Guys in the gym, like leg day, you know that you're really dedicated to the gym when you actually start to like leg day. So think about what might be important for you to achieve as a goal. And if you want help with that, I'm here to help you get it. I would love to help you with that. That's my job. So how do you reach me? Okay, so cell to call or text is 310, area code LA, 310-339-5778. 310-339-5778. Or text messages are fastest and they're kind of easiest. But you can also just visit the website to read other blog articles, get more information about all of my services and those of some of my colleagues and associates. So it's gaytherapyla.com. And if you could, do me a favor to give a rating to the podcast show, give comments, suggest topics for future episodes. That's always appreciated because I really would like to hear from the listeners and make this podcast as helpful and as resourceful as possible. Wouldn't that be nice, right? So, thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.